And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Thursday, July 6th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is a Thursday morning, and we're glad to have you with us. We're glad to have our friends from Bates Ford here this morning. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main in Lebanon, the dealer that'll trade for anything you don't eat. Paul Tubbs is the general manager. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Ronnie Kelly in sales for all these years, 36, I think it is. Good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you, Ronnie?
Doing fine.
How was your fourth?
Doing great. It's doing great.
But you didn't sell any cars on the fourth.
Didn't sell any cars on the 4th because we were closed on the 4th. That was a great thing.
Well, I know that Paul is excited about not one but two sons. Both of them have made the state baseball tournament they're playing in.
Well, my younger one plays on the 10U Lebanon Youth. They're actually in the state tournament, but my older one plays travel, and he just happened to have a tournament in Knoxville at the same time, so it kind of worked out well.
Okay, not a state tournament.
No, he's just playing.
He's playing, but
right.
Well, your boys must love baseball.
They do. It's a great sport, and I love it.
Well, what you love most, baseball or golf?
I grew up in baseball. I didn't pick up a golf club till it was actually Burchett at the time. One of the guys, Mike, said, "Hey, we've got a golf scramble," and I was like, "Man, most balls people hit, I go get, don't chase." So, but I did learn to love golf. But baseball is my passion. I've always grew up around it. My dad coached and all that. My kids love it. So it's a great sport.
Well, I just got to say, how about them Reds?
Yeah, that Ellie De La Cruz, boy, that dude's he's a prospect, ain't he?
Yeah, you bet. Well, we better talk a little bit about cars this morning. We've talked about this so many times, but really that phrase, the dealer that'll trade for anything you don't eat, just kind of sets you apart, and it did, and it still does. It's still going.
It's that's something Tony came up with, as I've said before, and when times were tough in 08, little recession, and he kind of thought out of the box, and we've stuck with it, and we stick by it every day. We traded for a camper. Actually, customer traded a camper in, a real nice little camper on a vehicle. So, if anybody's looking for a good camper, wants to go summer camping, we've got one down there, and generally we have got great deals on that. And then if you've got something that you want to turn into cash, or rather something you'd like to trade on a vehicle that you're not using, the thing about like campers and RVs and things like that, a lot of time people buy them and then decide they don't use them, so it's a good outlet for us to be able to trade for them.
And I guess there's somebody else that's wanting to try the camper route always, so they don't sit around too long.
No, it's a win-win generally because we actually advertise them really well and do well.
Well, Ronnie, talk about if nothing else, the Ford F-150.
Yes, that's Ford F-150. We got a great selection of new trucks right now, and even in July, this is something, a lot of times we don't have that much inventory in July, but we have a great selection of new, and also we have a great selection of used cars. We got over 150 used cars, so we got a great selection there. So if it's something that you think you need at Bates Ford, if you don't see it out front, talk to one of our salespeople, because we may have something that's sitting in the back getting ready to get cleaned up or going through service, and we may have something to interest you, because we believe in that saying, we'll trade for anything that don't eat.
And another thing too, of course, we'll get to it in time this morning, the oil changes, the tires, the batteries. But when people come in for those, and especially maybe the oil change and something is discovered about the car that needs some repair work, that's an opportunity for you to sell them another one then.
It's a great opportunity, and a lot of time people, when they come in for service, they'll come up and sit down, and sometimes they'll walk around, and we've made several sales, but people come in having service done.
Well, you have a way of calling it to their attention. That's part of the good salesperson that you are.
Yes.
I'll bet you even at times have said, aren't you a little bit embarrassed the way that car looks? Don't you want a better car?
Well, I have said at a time, because we have customers come in, a lot of times they come in for oil change, and they think they ride out a new vehicle.
That's kind of proves his salesmanship, doesn't it?
Well, yes, sir. It's a
win-win. What else you got this morning? Well, tell us about your new place for a minute.
We actually are moving along pretty well. I got a meeting today, a little bit to go over. We have a monthly construction meeting, and then it's right on track. We're moving right along. Got furniture ordered. Got I've went through the media kits. I mean, there's a lot of things that, I didn't really, never had handled a situation where as far as all the furniture inside, the shop equipment, there's a whole, so it's a full-time job, but it's really, 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 and that's one of the things that we're looking forward to is the service department. That new facility is about twice as big as the one we got, so we can do a better job of servicing, getting vehicles done.
Well, I'm wondering, are you going to have twice as big an office?
No, I don't stay. Tony laughed because he was going to start out with an office upstairs, and then we did some adjustments, and I actually had an office downstairs, and then it was probably the biggest one, and he's getting it. And me and him laughed because I don't ever sit down very long. I'm on my feet moving all the time. So he said, it ain't going to do you no good to have an office anyway because you're never going to be in it. So I try to stay on my feet. I got to go check on detail, check on the shop, check on sales. So I like to be moving constantly.
No need to waste that money.
No, sir.
For a bigger office. Well, tell us quickly about your oil change, your batteries and tires.
$39.95 up to 5 quarts. We do it on most vehicles, plus taxes and disposal. Tires, we sell a ton of tires right now. We're putting tires on a lot of people's vehicles, non-Ford stuff. If you need a set of tires, you can just give us a call. We've got what they call a tire sales tool where we can go online, give you a price right there. If we don't have them, we can generally have them the next day. Batteries, you're my testament, $149.95. You're still cranking good, isn't it?
Yes, it's going great. I recommend it.
And that Motorcraft battery is a 3-year free replacement warranty. Then it has a 100-month proration. So if something happens after the 3 years, you still get some credit towards another one.
All right, and that's about it, I guess. Hope you all have a great week. The best to your especially the younger boy in the state tournament.
Yeah, that's the 8U Lebanon youth and the 10U's both made the state, so it's pretty, that's a pretty good accomplishment for this baseball, Lebanon, city baseball league is got 2 good teams going to the state, so we look forward to it.
All right. That's right. That's Paul Tubbs, General Manager, Ronnie Kelly in sales for Bates Ford, 1673 West Main in Lebanon. Again, the dealer to trade for anything you don't eat. Okay, 11 minutes after the hour here on a Thursday morning. This, the first Thursday, most months we feature a member of the Lebanon City Council. It's not set in stone, and it doesn't always work that way, but it does today. And today I've got Fred Burton, who's a member of the Lebanon City Council. He's right here live in studio with us. He's also known as Fantastic Fred on Saturday nights. Fred, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm doing well. How was your 4th of July?
It was nice and quiet.
Even the fireworks wasn't too loud for you.
No, I sat in my backyard and looked at the fireworks and went back to bed.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you out this morning. It's probably been about 6 months since you were here. There are 6 members of the Lebanon City Council. And if we do it once a month, that's twice a year that you get to come. But as I said, every once in a while something will happen and it doesn't work out. But nice to see you this morning. And I told you when I called you yesterday that I've got a few of your Saturday night sayings written down. I'm going to imitate you a time or two this morning. But a reminder, of course, that not only are you on the Lebanon City Council, and you received a Legend of Lebanon award too, didn't you? But you are our man on Saturday night here on the radio. Fantastic Fred Anthony. Fred Burton on the City Council. Fantastic Fred Anthony on Saturday night. I guess we could start out here on the budget. The budget passed in June. I think the vote was unanimous. It seemed like everybody was pretty much on the same page, and I guess pretty much satisfied with at least the really needs of the different departments being satisfied. But how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel good about it. We didn't have a bigger problem with our budget this year. I talked to the Commissioner of Finance, and the money's coming in, tax money's coming in good. So we're in good shape on our budget.
And you were pleased. There's nothing, not any big thing you'd change about it, really.
No.
Yeah. Well, what do you hear from the constituents in your ward? There's always somebody that needs something, but is any real basic things that you're concerned about right now?
Well, the biggest thing I got going in my ward is paving. I got a bunch of streets in my ward need paving and striping. And some of them not going to be paved, they're going to be striped. Bring up the striping on them. So that's the biggest thing I got going in my ward right now.
Do you remember is any particular ones you might name that are going to get paved?
Any streets going to get paved?
Yeah.
Well, I got Cal Circle is one, and North College is two, and let's see, I got a bunch more. We got a new list that's come out, so I got to get back with the lady that handles the paving.
Yeah. Well, it always makes, I know this happened to me, I guess it's been a couple of years now, but Vosswood finally got paved. Yeah. And it's kind of needed it, no question. But it's a good feeling when you get that new pavement there, and it usually lasts for a pretty good while, unless the only criticism I've heard really about paving is that once one gets paved, then it seems like people should have dug what they were going to dig prior to the paving, and you come out and attach to the sewer or do something. A new house goes up, and then it kind of spoils that part of the road. Yeah, you've noticed that, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, let's pretend it's Saturday night, and Fred Anthony would say, "You stick and stay, and don't go away." Yeah. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota. They have a deal designed to keep you ahead of schedule. Check out the world's #1 selling compact excavator plus 0% financing. It's going on now until the end of the year. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. As traffic volume really starts to pick up I-40 westbound, coming through the Mount Juliet area, leaving Wilson County, headed towards Nashville. Lebanon Pike and Lynn Mead, that's a wreck there in Hermitage. It's still getting some attention. The intersection was still tied up at 10th Avenue and Buchanan Street, where two cars slammed together there pretty hard. It's heavy, right on schedule. I-40 coming eastbound up through Kingston Springs. Behind it, you got all that traffic coming in from Dixon County. Same thing for 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area in from Rutherford County. If you have a mosquito problem, well, call these guys, Crest Pest Control, at 601-6503 or online at crestpestcontrol.net. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
Service the hometown way. That's THW Insurance. Because THW is an independent agent, you can select from several highly rated insurance companies offering competitive rates and excellent service to best suit your needs. For home, auto, life, health, long-term care, business, and employer's insurance, ask THW. THW Insurance Services, 321 West Main in Lebanon, or call 443-3849. For an online quote, visit thwins.com.
All right, continuing to pretend it's Saturday night, Fred would say, take heed and govern yourselves accordingly. Where did you come up with that?
I don't know, because like I said, I just think of things when I'm on the air.
Well, you've said them enough that I have remembered them enough to even write down 2 or 3 of them. So, anyway, well, we were talking during the break here. You've got a park in your ward. Where exactly is that going to be?
Yeah. Well, like I said, they got the new bathroom put in, concession stand put up, and we got the track ready for the paving. I got to check with the lady to see when that paving is going to be done. But it's going to be done pretty soon. And once we get that done, then again, basketball goals, brand new basketball goals.
Yeah. Where's this located? The exact location is. Tell me the location, where this is going to be.
It's behind the Lebanon Church of God.
Okay.
Yeah, that park was put there back in the 50s when they did the redevelopment of that area, and they did that park for the park. And like I said, it's been something that we have always needed, and people looking forward to it. And
How long you think it will be before it's completed?
I'm hoping before the Labor Day.
Oh,
That's what I'm shooting for.
that would be great, wouldn't it? Celebrate Labor Day and have that mark there for everybody. You find quite a bit of enthusiasm from people wanting it to get done and can't hardly wait for it and that kind of thing. Well, it's like you said. I don't think we've had anything just like that in your ward, have we? This is new.
Yeah, a lot of people looking forward to that the walking trail is going to be paved all the way around, and a lot of ladies asking me when that's going to be ready, and I said, well, I'll find out, because we got the paving contract let, and they started the paving, so I got to see how well that's down on the list.
Well, is that paving that trail part of the big paving contract?
Yeah,
Okay, it's all tied in together. Okay. What are you hearing from your people? Do you get a lot of calls wanting this, wanting that, or why don't we do this, or problems?
No, I don't get that many calls on why not, because I try to stay ahead of everything I can, and like I said, it's one of them deals that you can't ever please everybody. I was telling the guy the other day, last council meeting, we had 2 spectators. 2. And I remember when I first got on the council back in the 86, you couldn't hardly get to your seat for people. I don't know what's happened to people now. People just don't care, I guess, But there are 2 people, spectators.
The terms are staggered here, and I can't keep up with them too well. When will your term be up? When will your term be up?
Next year.
Okay, in 24.
24.
Have you just thought about running again?
No, I'm gonna run home. I'm gonna run home. I have 28 years. That's enough.
Oh, well, it's going to be interesting then. If you're not going to run, that kind of leaves the field wide open. You got anybody you're going to recommend or promote necessarily?
I've had a couple of calls from guys that are talking about it, but I haven't got any finalization on them yet.
Yeah. Well, it's a year and 3 months, something like that. It's a good long while, but a lot of times somebody will throw their hat in the ring fairly early, if nothing else, to test the waters, and we'll see how all that works out. And speaking of water, I'm thinking of Watertown and the one you call the Liquid City.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that?
I don't know. I was just thinking about it one night, and one of my listeners up there before he passed, John Carter, he just called it the Liquid City.
Yeah. Well, as I think I was saying earlier, I remember when I was telling you were telling the Ford guys that, but I remember the day that you walked in the front door here and asked for a job, and Jack Hendrickson gave you a job, and you've kind of been an institution here on radio ever since. Now, it's been off again and on again a time or two. Like me, you haven't worked here continuously, but you're still with us, and I might ask you this, Fred. You were pretty sick a few months ago.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, I don't know. Doctor put me in the hospital for 5 days, did a bunch of tests and all that, but didn't find nothing. Got all my insurance money. That's all they want.
But you recovered. You were pretty sick for a while.
Yeah.
And I know we missed you several Saturday nights.
Yeah. But no, they didn't find nothing. They did a lot of tests on me for the whole 5 days I was down there, and then they told me to go home, and that was it.
Well, you got a lot of rest, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And Billy, your wife, she must took good care of you.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard this story, and it's probably been in print. If anybody's written about you, Ken Beck may have written. Did Ken Beck write an article about you? Somebody did. Anyway, it had to do with James Brown coming to your house, right? Tell that story again.
Well, one thing, every time James would come to Nashville and do a show, he'd always call all the disc jockeys for after party. And so one time the last time he came, I fed him and his band. And my wife went and got 2 boxes of chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they ate all that. And she said, "I'm not going to get no more." I said, "Well, that ought to be full." But yeah, he was a good friend of mine.
Well, the story I heard was that they kept staying, and finally Billy said, "It's time for us to go to bed. Y'all need to go home." Is that partly true?
Yeah.
That's a great story. How did you become friends with James? I mean, if people,
Well, actually,
I know older, I mean younger people, probably there's some younger people maybe listening never heard of James Brown, but he was quite quite a performer and had a great name and WLAC used to play a lot of his stuff, John R. and all those. But for you to know him and actually have him come to your house, quite an honor, Fred. You even if you did have to tell him when it was time to leave. How'd you get to know him?
Well, like I said, every time he come to town, he'd have a party for all the local disc jockeys, and like I said, I'd always go, and he told me, he said, "Fred, next time I come, I'm gonna come to your house." I said, "Come right on, JB." And
well, what do you think? What he had his own way. I mean, he was somewhat different, but people really followed him. He was one of the bigger names. I mean, you think of him and B.B. King and a few others. What was the biggest thing contributed to his success?
He was a good dancer.
Oh?
Yeah, he was a dynamic dancer. And like I said, he's the only performer I knew that had 3 drum sets running at the same time. They were doing a show. In other words, he changed song, another one take off, change songs again, another one pick up the beat. He was just dynamic. He was just dynamic.
You came up with the Fantastic One.
Yeah.
And of course, Fantastic Fred kind of that sounds right. The Fantastic One. You love that fantastic word, I believe.
Yeah.
That one you came up with yourself?
No, one of my disc jockeys in Nashville when I worked at VOL, he gave me that name.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you being with us today. We've got 2 or 3 minutes left here. As you think of the rest of your term, and you've got another year and 3 months approximately, anything else you want to get accomplished besides this park we've already talked about? Anything else that's really maybe bugging you as a need for your ward?
Well, the biggest thing I got going is I'm going to be looking at the traffic situation. We got 2 major projects, well, 3 really. Got the one on the bypass, that's 180 homes. One on Park Avenue, that's 95 homes. And then on the other one on the bypass is 28 homes. And like I said, they're going to be looking at trying to move those people when they get all full. That's going to be a problem.
Well, and we've got other such similar situations all over town. I doubt there's a ward of the 6 that doesn't have some apartment or some complex that's going to add to the people with traffic on the road. And I don't know how we deal with it. It's a challenge. What do you got any ideas at all?
No, like I said, one thing I've talked to the chief about is running the radar to slow these people down. Because I tell you, you'll get run over early in the morning and late in the evening. And they don't pay no attention, no speed limit. And like I said, that's one thing we're going to have to look at as far as slowing these people down to make them run the speed limit and not making things so dangerous, you know.
Well, we'll stay tuned for the completion of this park. Has much been done yet? You mentioned a little bit, but I forgot what you said. Honestly, the park over here by the church. How far along are you? Hoping to be done by Labor Day?
Well, like I said, we got all the bathrooms done.
Okay.
And concession stands done.
All right.
And track ready for the paving.
Yeah.
And putting up two new basketball goals. And that'd be on this first project.
Well, that'll be a good thing to get completed to kind of end your time of service with the city. So glad to hear of all this, and thank you for being with us today. We appreciate it, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
That is it, part one of Coleman and Company, but we've got more. So once again, you stick and stay and don't go away. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, that regular oil change $39.95, up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, $16.73 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. A couple of cars up against the wall. People are staring at it. 40 westbound, right at Stewart's Ferry Pike. Now, it's already slow in this area because you got all that traffic flow coming in from Wilson County, from Mount Juliet, arriving here in the Hermitage on 40 westbound at Stewart's Ferry Pike. Again, I can see a couple of cars up against the wall. Already some heavy traffic coming in from Dixon County on I-40 headed towards Kingston Springs. It's just that time of the morning for it to get heavy going eastbound on 40 out of Dixon County. If you have a mosquito problem, call Crest Pest Control. That number is 601-6503. They're online, crestpestcontrol.net. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Are you thinking about buying a new home? Let A.G. & Johnson assist you with your new home search. From the first-time home buyer to the empty nester, we are experienced in all facets of the home buying process. We will be with you every step of the way. No matter if you are buying, selling, downsizing, or upsizing, we can assist you with your real estate needs. Call us at 615-444-0909 or find us online at agandjohnson.com or Facebook A.G. & Johnson Realty. A.G. & Johnson is your community's trusted realty and auction company.
Hey, this is Paul at Bates Ford. We got some great deals going on for you. 0% interest is back. We've got 0% interest on F-150s and Edges and rebates even up to $3,000. On the service side, we've got the Works vehicle package, which includes an oil change and a tire rotation. We'll meter beat anybody's price on tires. We have batteries for the low price of $149.95 installed on most vehicles. Come see us at Bates Ford, 1673 West Main Street, or visit us on the web at www.tonybatesford.com, the dealer that'll trade for anything that don't eat.
A chance for thunderstorms sticking with us this morning as temperatures climb through the 70s and 80s. We're looking for a high of 90 by this afternoon, with the humidity making it feel more like 93. Cooling to 70 tonight, and we should see a high of 87 degrees for Friday. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part two here on a Thursday morning. It's time for us to talk about A.G. & Johnson Realty and Auction. Jay White is with us. Jay, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good to see you, and it's good to have Jim Agee here. Jim Agee, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
A.G. & Johnson Realty and Auction, 728 West Main. That phone number is 615-444-0909, and the website is www.agandjohnson.com. It all started back in 1977. And Jim, you were there when it started, right?
I was there.
You and Cherry Johnson started AG, and the thing about it, the name hasn't changed.
That's right.
Some of the players have, and the ownership has changed. Jay, you're the owner now, but you chose not to change the name.
Absolutely.
And then you still got Jim to look over your shoulder a little bit.
I do. I need that.
Well, you've got one auction to talk about this morning.
We do, Coleman. We've got a little online auction going on down on Stewart's Ferry Pike, down in the Glade. It's got a lot of. There's a nice vehicle down there, a nice low mileage truck. Then some tractors and farm equipment and some great antiques. It's just a great little. Get online, take a look at all this stuff. I mean, it's all been well maintained. It is an estate, so we're liquidating a small estate down there, and but it's some great pieces down there in this house. If you're looking for any type of quilts or needlepoint or stuff like that, I mean, there's that in the house. There's some good glassware, but also, the farm equipment. We have 2 massive Ferguson tractors that were bought here from Bland Motors. Here they were bought new at Bland Motors here. Chevrolet truck, I believe it came from Wilson County Motor Company. So I mean, we everything's locally bought and owned and been right here in the county since it was brand new. So come out and take a look at it. We do have a viewing that'll be July the 13th from 4 to 7 p.m. So you can go out in the afternoon, take a look at all. We'll have everything opened up for folks to be able to look and browse through, and then go home and get online and register to bid on these items.
Well, that's a week from today, I believe.
A week from today. The week from today is 13th.
Well, this is a little bit different way, and we talked about this last week and a little bit before, online auction, but it's probably a thing of the future.
Well, it really came on strong during COVID. It kind of caught on. So a lot of places do this now. A lot of your heavy equipment, industrial equipment, cars, and those sort of things are sold online. There's a place for it. There's also a place for live auctions, and there'll always be a place for these live auctions like we do. But it's a good way to liquidate this type of estate.
Well, Jim Agee, speaking of auctions, this is something you've been involved in, I guess, from the very beginning, haven't you?
That's correct.
And you're an auctioneer yourself.
Yes, sir.
And Jerry was an auctioneer. He even did a livestock market, if my memory's right.
He did.
And it seemed like, I remember it used to be, it seemed like the auction was the big thing that all the realty companies advertised. At one time, there was 3 and maybe even 4 of the Hobbs family that had realty companies, and nearly every one of them would have an auction here now, and all of you would come out here and put your ad on the radio most of the time. But that's changed a little bit. You're the only local one I know that just still doing this.
In 1977, when Jerry and I went in business, the biggest part of the real estate companies in town had an auction division.
Yeah.
And that's how much has changed over the last 6 years.
Yeah. Well, you're still doing it. The others are not, and I guess people come to you right easy now.
Right. Of course, in 1977, I was one of the younger ones in it. I was about, I actually got my auctioneer license before I did my real estate license. I got them back in 74.
How about that?
And then it was 75 before I got my real estate license.
Well, what do you think about these online auctions? It's a new way of doing it, and some of us older people, they say that's hard to teach an old dog new tricks,
Well, there's a place for it, and I mean, for small estate stuff like this, you get a lot of exposure in that internet. You get, you're covering a wider range, but if you have an auction here locally that, people know the equipment or they know the collections or whatever somebody collected, you get a real good turnout from that. But for just, general type merchandise, you'll probably get more exposure, on the online auction.
Yeah. Well, you certainly are running with the flow here, as we would say. You're adapting to a new way of doing this, and it seems like you're continuing to, so it must be working.
It will. It does work. It does work. It has its place. It has its place.
Well, we didn't talk about the 4th, but I hope y'all had a happy and must have been a safe 4th because you're still here.
It was uneventful.
How about you, Jill?
Yeah, I had a good quiet 4th.
All right. Well, just remember, keep them in mind. Agee and Johnson Realty and Auction. As Helene Cash tells us every week, whatever your need is, you've got enough people that somebody's pretty much experienced in whatever your need is, and that's a good thing to know too.
That's
All right, well, thanks for being
Thank
with
you.
us. Jim Agee, along with Jay White, Agee and Johnson Realty and Auction, 728 West Main. And thank you, fellas. We'll do it again next Thursday.
Thanks, Coleman.
All right.
Thank you, Coleman.
We're about 21 minutes before the hour, and I'm going to go to the telephone. My guest this morning for part 2 is Tim Leeper, and I think we've got Tim on the phone. Tim, I think you're there. Good morning.
How we doing this morning?
Oh, doing great. How about you?
I'm good. I've taken the show on the road today.
Okay. Tim Leeper Roofing. Tim Leeper, of course, is president. There's also Mama's Metal Roofing that we'll probably be talking about as well. I think I was not here last month when you made your presence, so it's been 2 months since I've talked with you, but it's been 2 good months for the Cincinnati Reds. I guess you're aware of that.
Yes, I am. I am pleasantly surprised.
Well, aren't we all? Very pleasantly. But what's happened in the last month with you?
Well, just a lot of rain over the last week or so, but before that, a pretty good dry spell. So, we saw a lot of these roofs dry out, and when these roofs dry out, what happens is they'll just get so hot that a good rain shower will just kind of shock them, and some places make them crack, if you will. Mm-hmm. But that'll make them leak just like a rainy season will. So it's kind of been an interesting last few weeks since we've talked.
Well, one thing about it, you've been in roofing long enough to have had experience with all these different things, weather itself, and I'm sure you, as a roofer, you watch the weather, you keep in touch with the weather maps and have a pretty good idea wherever you're working to know whether rain is expected or not, or which front might be coming through. Don't you pay a lot of attention to that, and especially if it begins to cloud up?
Yeah, you have to. And a lot of times clouds are a luxury because you don't always get that. We live in Middle Tennessee where, a chance of rain could mean, you get flooded that day. And, I used to say I don't make a living listening to Bill Hall because, honestly, Bill Hall would say, it's a good chance of rain today and we wouldn't work. And then it'd be sunny all day. So we learned just to go out there and be prepared for anything. And so we would go out there and tear off, and it wouldn't be uncommon for 10 o'clock in the morning to get a rain shower for an hour. Just cover the roof up, with a new tarp and let it rain itself out and get back up on the roof and keep going.
That works pretty well to do it that way. You've done that enough times that it doesn't bother you?
No, not anymore. I mean, it's like anything else. You just want to take care of your customer's house and make sure that there's no damage. But it's not a big deal, honestly, to put a brand new tarp right over a 30-foot section of area of roof that you're torn off. We're used to it. We do this every day, and so for some people, it'd probably give them anxiety and it'd stress them out. But we tell them that, hey, look, we're going to protect the house at all costs. But if I've got to wait for a day that's going to be 100%. Chance of no rain, I might wait till next August to get your roof done.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Well, you learn to deal with the elements in this way. So as you're saying, it's really no big deal to you anymore. So you do have plenty of tarp, though.
Oh, yeah, we keep them on the truck at all times. And, keep the project manager on the job. So, if something goes wrong, you're not just having a bunch of guys out there scrambling. You got somebody that says, hey, here's the tarps, here's the extra cap nails, and the one before is just in case we need to really batten it down under a hard rain. But, it's nothing to put a tarp down and 30 minutes later take it right back up. But, like I say, you just can't wait for the perfect day to roof. You'll be waiting forever.
Well, we've been having some fronts come through, some wind, some tree damage. I know. Has there been much roof damage in the last month or 6 weeks?
It's been a fair amount. It's been steady, but it's not been a big storm event like you would think. But we've had a active wind season this year. So I mean, we've had a fair amount of calls and said, hey, this is going to be an insurance claim. But we don't make a living just on insurance work, and so we're used to people just calling and saying, hey, we need a repair, or hey, we need we need to get a price for our roof because insurance isn't going to pay for it, but I need to go ahead and just get it done. Back in the old days, that's how people did things. Their roof went bad, they just got a price to replace it. They didn't try to, get the insurance to replace everything. And we've had a shift over the last 10 years, and now we've got to, play both sides of the fence, unfortunately.
Well, we will remind everybody it's about time for us to go to a break, but let's remind everybody you can contact Tim Leeper, his website, tim@timleeperroofing.com, tim@timleeperroofing.com, and cell phone number 615-372-4713, 4713, Tim Leeper Roofing and Mama's Metal Roofing. We'll take a break here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford, and they've got the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. It's $59.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, and safety check. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. They're still trying to work this accident out here in Hermitage. It's up against the wall on 40 westbound between Central Pike and Stewart's Ferry Pike. It's had traffic slower than normal. Again, over here in Hermitage, you got all that heavy traffic now arriving in this area from Wilson County. Again, 40 westbound. As they work this accident over near Central Pike and Stewart's Ferry Pike. Some flashing lights, 65 southbound. It's going to be there around Wedgewood, just south of town. That's a lot of radar going on south of Nashville this morning. Princess Hot Chicken is catering. Check them out online at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
And now, a moment of silence to remember our dear friend.
Sorry. Oh, man. Life can be uncomfortable. Your home doesn't have to be. With a wide range of air conditioners, furnaces, and heat pumps, Rheem makes it easy to feel comfortable, even when you can't be comfortable.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
And we continue here on this Thursday morning. Tim Leeper is my guest. Tim Leeper Roofing and Mama's Metal Roofing. We've talked mostly about roofing so far, but anything non-business that you want to talk about this morning? I know we had the Ducky Derby. I don't know. That was in May, I think, and you're still interested in the Community Help Center. You're interested in the Rotary Club, even though you may not be president anymore. What else is going on?
Well, I did my last day of last day as president a week ago this Tuesday. So I'm now a past president, which is one of the best titles you can have in Rotary, especially immediate past president, because you can decompress and breathe. But the Ducky Derby, from what I understand, it was another record year for the Ducky Derby, which is great because the reach that the Help Center has. But honestly, I've got something else coming up that's pretty interesting, and I've talked to a lot of people around town, and it's actually on the chamber calendar already. But on September the 9th, our Sisters Keeper is having a sporting clay shoot out at the Phillips Farm. The farm at Cedar Springs out there on Phillips Road, and we have to limit it to 24 shooting teams, 5-man shooting teams. But we're going to have a sporting clay event, and that is a fun and unique way to raise money, and it's raising money for our Sisters Keeper, which I think we've talked about that before, but our Sisters Keeper is a group that goes into the jails, and they work with women, and they reintegrate them back into, freedom in society. And sometimes they walk with them, through addiction and help them get help there. But they also teach them, how to manage their money. They actually have a curriculum they're going into the jails and taking and teaching. I think they've just finished one of their 10-week courses. And I think they have another one coming up, maybe late summer. But so that's what the fundraiser is going to be funding, and we're pretty excited about that.
Well, how do you participate? It's a team, I think you said. So you got to have some mothers to go with you, I take it.
We do. So there's multiple ways to participate, but right now we have got a few spots left for teams. Believe it or not, we've got close to 18 to 20 teams for sure. We've had a couple of people that's needed to say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. We've got to go out of town. But we've got a lot of the teams filled. But nevertheless, we still have room for a couple of shooting teams, which are 5-person teams. I say 5-man teams, but they're 5-person teams. Mm-hmm. We're going to have lady shooters out there. And, a lot of good shooters are females because they just, they're better with their breathing. And not saying the guys aren't good, but I'm just saying, I would be a little nervous to see a 5-1 shooting team out there because those girls are pretty good. I've seen them at the gun club.
Yeah.
But so we got shooting teams, Coleman, that we can do. And then we also are doing, some sponsorships. And then we have table sponsors if you'd like to do a table sponsorship. And we also have some shooting stations. There are going to be 13 shooting stations. And so we're doing large signage on each of those shooting stations. So, you might not be able to participate, but, you may be able to come out and do a shooting station sponsorship. And that'll get you a big sign out there with all the shooters that are coming through that day.
Well, I don't ever remember talking about anything like this before. This is totally new to me. Now, you're out there in the wide open spaces, I guess. Isn't this a place out there, a barn, where there used to be some weddings and this sort of thing?
Yeah, it sure is. It's an event venue, and they have weddings and other events that they have out there, but it's really cool. Went out there and toured it and met Dr. Phillips, and it's a really cool place. It's on the backside of a large farm, so it is. It's like you said, it's wide open spaces, and the shooting station's actually going to be set. These targets are going to be set by Greg Piercy, who, the guy's kind of a legend in this area and even around the country for shooting for these sporting clay events, because he goes and sets targets. He sets them for state meets and regional competitions. For professional shooters we're talking about. And so it's very cool that we're going to be able to have Greg to set this course. That's drawn a lot of attention and garnered a lot of attention for this event, just having Greg be a part of it. And Greg is, Lisa Thompson is on the board. And Greg is related to Lisa, and Lisa said, hey, Greg Piercy is my kinfolk, and I think we can get him to set these targets, which was amazing. That's a big deal.
Well, I know Greg a little bit. He's been on the program with me maybe a couple of times, and know his daddy real well. We went to school together and grew up in the same neighborhood, but Greg's made quite a name for himself, that's for sure. If somebody's hearing about this maybe for the first time, but they're a pretty good shooter and would like to participate, what's the best way to contact somebody? Can you tell us that?
Yeah, you can go into Our Sisters Keeper's website, oursisterskeeper.org, I believe is what it is, or you can just contact Sue Ann Bone. Cell phone is 615-812-6810, and she's kind of coordinating that. And really, if you can't remember those, you can catch up with any of the board members for Our Sisters Keeper. And like I say, they're in the process of, working with the sponsors and selling tables and things like that. So if you know somebody that's a board member, you can get a hold of them any of those ways.
Yeah. Well, if they've run out all there, I guess.
So just call me.
Yeah, call you. Tim Leeper's phone number is 615-372-4713. Well, I guess getting back to roofing here, we mentioned Mama's Metal Roofing, and I think if my memory's right, when you've been here and talked about it, people that do the regular type roofing don't particularly like to work in metal roofing. The metal roofers don't like to do the other. You have two different crews. That's still true?
Yes. The metal roofing and the shingle roofers are just a little bit different of an animal, if you will. So it's kind of like, you do plumbing, but somebody now asks you to go cut their grass and seed and fertilize it. Different. It's a different concept altogether. It really is. Because I can get monkeys to go out and put a screw and set the clutch on a drill to put a screw down roof on, but I can't get a monkey to think about how water works. And so that's where you really need somebody that's good at waterproofing. And really, I only have one crew that I work with just because I know their work. I know it's good. We supervise the work, but I'm heavily involved in the metal part of things, in that I will go out and do most of the bids myself. I'll also, do the takeoffs, do the material list, and just make sure we're not missing anything. And then I'll coordinate with my production guy, who is there with the crew and make sure that things go well. So there's a lot of things that I'm involved with, in this business. And I just feel like that if I'm on the job site, or if I'm around and working with the job directly, it just tends to go a little smoother at times.
Well, either way, but my observation is that there are a lot more people doing metal roofing today than there were 5 or 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. There's a trend toward metal roofing. What about that?
There is a trend towards it, and you'll see some advertisements on TV or you hear them on the radio. And those are all good things, but at the end of the day, they just kind of shine the light on, that metal is a better option, than shingle roofing. Again, this is from a guy who makes a living putting on shingle roofs and has for a long time. That's what the market typically will put on because it's affordable. But at the end of the day, I feel like that you're going to get a better roof with the metal roof versus a shingle roof. I'll tell you this: I don't have a roof on any of my properties or my house that's shingles. Everything I have is metal or a different type of material.
Do you think, Tim Leeper, that in the future, even the foreseeable future, that there will be a change in the way contractors, even spec houses, this sort of thing, that or even somebody building a house, that they're just going to prefer the metal to the shingle? Is this trend going to go that far?
I don't think it will. I don't think it'll ever take over. Metal is kind of a niche thing, and even though the niche has gotten larger over the last couple of years, I don't think we'll ever see a time where it takes over. In the more rural areas, and we've talked about this, the more rural areas, they see the value in it, and they'll put a lot of metal roofs on out, in the country. But the closer we get to town, people are just a little more conscious of pricing. And they don't always see the long-term benefit or value in putting a roof on that costs a little bit more, but it's going to last them three or more times as long as what that shingle roof is going to last.
Yeah, and then again,
if
you're not going to keep a home forever, I mean, a lot of people do move around, so if that shingle roof is going to last you for 10 or 15 years, and you're going to only be there 8 or 10, you just don't worry about that sort of thing.
Well, possibly, but there's also something to be considered for the resale value. If you're only going to be there 8 or 10 years, the resale value is good on a metal roof. The market's good, and I know that things are moving. I'm not a real estate I'm a roofer, but I can't speak intelligently to the market trends in real estate, but I can tell you that, that if you've got to pull up to a home that you're looking at and one's got a metal roof and you pull up to a home that's got a shingle roof, you're at least going to give a harder and longer look to that metal roof and see it as a benefit versus a liability. You don't know how long that shingle roof has been on there. Even if you have a home inspector to go out and tell you, their home inspectors are typically not, roof experts. They're, they don't by and large know how long that roof is typically going to last. So all that being said, I just think there's a resale value aspect that goes into that as well that sometimes doesn't get taken into consideration.
Okay, well, I appreciate you being with us today, Tim. Good to hear you, and we'll do it again next month. And just remind everybody in closing this morning, Tim Leeper Roofing. Tim Leeper's president. He also has Mama's Metal Roofing, really two different businesses here, whether you want shingle roofing or metal roofing, and you can give him a call at 615-372-4713. Tim, thank you so much. See you next time.
Thank you, Coleman.
All right. That is it for Thursday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow for Coleman and Company. Until then, I wish you a tremendous day.